Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 77. And today I want to discuss a topic that one of you guys suggested, which is how far the damage of Kawaki stealing away Naruto will be, and what this means for the future fights that we saw in Boruto's vision for the future, in particular Sarada and Mitsuki, with the question in particular placing a lot of emphasis on Sarada. So in today's video, I want to take a look at that, as well as what the impact of a rematch between the members of Team 7 might be for the Boruto time skip, and whether or not this is a good or a bad idea. Also, if you want to hear more lore-based discussions on other anime besides Naruto, make sure to subscribe to my KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN channel, where we do lore videos, video essays, and reviews for series like Spy Family, Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, and coming soon we'll be uploading more Jujutsu Kaisen content alongside My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, and Eden Zero. So I think we all can agree that after we saw Boruto's vision for the future, after he took control of some of Momoshiki's powers, which are most likely gonna be a Shinjutsu ability to see the future, our immediate questions were, why was Kawaki fighting Sarada and Mitsuki, and what has Kawaki done that's enraged Mitsuki to a point of using his sage powers, which come at a great risk to Mitsuki's body? Now that Naruto's been sealed away, it's safe to say we at least know the why for what's caused Mitsuki and Sarada to initially go after Kawaki, but the question of why Sarada has been so desperate to locate Kawaki and why Mitsuki is so enraged, that becomes the other part of the question we don't know the answer to. But we likely do have our answer, which is that Kawaki has said it's his goal to kill Boruto now, and it's safe to assume that Sarada and Mitsuki, they're not going to stand by idle and let that happen, especially once they learn that Kawaki has already killed Boruto once. That information is going to be key to keep in mind as we look at this a bit further. When it comes to Boruto, Sarada and Mitsuki have already shown to be on edge and emotional because they both felt upset that they couldn't be there to assist him when they were told what took place when Boruto and Kawaki left the village, which is that Code tried to kill Boruto and that the karma spreading was a result of that. But now that Kawaki sealed away Naruto, that tidbit of information is gonna come out, and these two are strong-willed enough to want to do whatever they can in order to bring down Kawaki, or at the very least try to protect Boruto from him. That brings us to the next thing. Given there's a manhunt going on for Kawaki, there seems to be a growing likelihood that Kawaki is going to have to fight his way out the Land of Fire, and that a confrontation with Mitsuki and Sarada, it holds more weight now because they don't have the power to stop him. But my patron suggested that Kawaki might have already targeted Boruto by the time this fight takes place, hence the blood on his face, which I can understand that. I agree, at least in part, that's Boruto's blood, and they believe that might be the cause of the desperation and anger between Sarada and Mitsuki. Mitsuki using his sage powers against Kawaki makes perfect sense under that scenario, but my patron takes things a step further and says they believe Kawaki might have actually taken things to a point of no return and gravely injured Boruto, or potentially even killed him, which would lead to Mitsuki having a rage amp on top of his sage mode, and Sarada's 3-tomo Sharingan turning into a Mangekyou, and then adding the hatred amp on top of it. According to what they sent me, the belief is that Momoshiki is an unreliable narrator, basically that what he told Boruto when he brought him back to life isn't the full truth and that it cannot be trusted. They believe that Momoshiki was being honest when he told Boruto that when he brought him back from death, Momoshiki did sacrifice the remaining 18% of his extraction data to rebuild Boruto's heart and his vital organs that Kawaki ended up destroying. However, they think everything else that was stated by Momoshiki was 100% capped, and that Momoshiki only told Boruto that if he got himself killed, there will be no next time in terms of revival, because it was all part of Momoshiki's plan to begin wearing down Boruto's psyche in order to take control of him. They think, given Momoshiki has said more than once since bringing Boruto back to life, Momoshiki won't allow anything to happen to Boruto, that this was his first clue that Momoshiki was lying. While Momoshiki does have incentive to keep Boruto alive due to their souls being attached to each other and their thoughts beginning to intertwine, and Boruto being able to use some of Momoshiki's powers without Momoshiki's permission, it does appear as if their destinies are intertwined. But my patron believes Momoshiki, despite what he's told Boruto, is allowing all this to happen on purpose. In fact, he's encouraging it to happen. It's meant to have Boruto already on edge because he's 100% Otsutsuki now and able to be fed to the Ten Tails. It's meant to instill that underlying fear into Boruto. They believe the part about not coming back if Boruto's fed to the Ten Tails, that part is truthful, but they don't believe the rest is truthful due to Momoshiki only referring to death in the context at the hands of death being consumed by the Ten Tails. Momoshiki isn't someone who is going to have no options on the table to stay alive. He's proven it 3 times already that he's willing to cheat death by any means possible. He consumed Kenshiki to acquire the power to stave off death for a while against the Kages. He desperately placed karma onto Boruto to bring himself back to life before he was was killed by the Rasengan, and he even went as far as to revive Boruto by using the last bits of his karma to bring Boruto back to life, also his soul could stay attached to Boruto. All of that context is basically needed for the next part of their theory, which is that Sarada will end up seeing Kawaki kill Boruto, or that Kawaki will place Boruto in a state where he appears to be dead to the naked eye, and that's what's going to awaken Sarada's Mangekyou. Their belief is that between Sarada being emotionally on edge after Boruto seemingly dies, that it triggers her Mangekyou, and with that hatred that she feels towards Kawaki plus Mitsuki's sage powers, it will be enough to start driving Kawaki back during the battle that takes place. However, unbeknownst to them, Momoshiki is actually keeping Boruto alive due to some Otsutsuki trickery. Now that we've gone over what the theory says, let's look at how likely it is. I do think the part about Momoshiki lying to Boruto, I think that's correct. I think there are parts of what he told Boruto that are absolutely true, but there are aspects of their conversation that aren't 100% accurate. I'm not going to go as far as to say that he's capping, I'm just going to say he's withholding information. That just feels in character for Momoshiki, and I don't think any of us would be shocked. You guys know my stance on Momoshiki and Boruto as far as eventually with the folklore behind Momoshiki being inspired by Momotaro the Peach Boy is likely going to come into play at some point, and we're going to see these two working together at some point in the story, only the twist being that Momoshiki isn't fighting for the village like say Momotaro in the folklore, but rather Momoshiki is doing so because it's in its own best self-interest. On the other side of this though, I don't think Kishimoto's dumb enough to pull another fake out death so soon after we just got the last one. Even if the Kawaki versus Boruto and Team 7 fight doesn't occur for say another 3 or 4 chapters, that just feels way too soon to pull another fake out. After we just had Boruto die and get revived, but then again, we were baited with Naruto dying via burial mode, only for it to be revealed that Kurama died, but at least in that instance, there was something of finality there. You could argue we got that with Boruto since Momoshiki sacrificed his ability to come back to life, but the fact he can still hijack Boruto's consciousness kind of cheapens that in my opinion, because until he does something foul like Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen, which if you're up to date on that manga, you know exactly what I'm referring to in terms of recent events, I don't feel the same payoff to Momoshiki taking over Boruto's body. Of course, Sasuke's Rinnegan might disagree with me, because that kunai depleted his whole health bar. In regards to the impact that this would have on Sarada and Mitsuki versus Kawaki, I mean it would definitely help given Mitsuki's sage powers have an unknown boost, and the same with both the Mangekyou's amp to your base and the Uchiha's amp that they get whenever they feel any type of hatred. It's a blank slate to do exactly as you please from a writing perspective. I think the wheels are turning in the right direction there, but I don't think even with all of this, it's going to be enough, because Sarada's base power, it isn't high enough to where it would make any type of a difference. Maybe she had base strength to put on par with say Karma Seal Boruto, the version 1 state, you could at least swallow it. The same with Mitsuki, but as they are currently, I don't think this is going to work right now. Sarada would need a really hacks Mangekyou Sharingan power to level the playing field, and the one thing that she has going for is that the descendants of Indra, once they start upgrading their eyes, they really start coming into possession of some really broken abilities, especially the Uchiha clan descendants. Shisui was able to use Koto Matsukami, the ultimate genjutsu that couldn't be broken. Madara's Rinnegan powers make him a threat to even someone like Damon, who's stronger than Jigen, or even a threat to somebody like Ishiki, who is a lot stronger than Jigen, simply because the counter to Limbo is either you have to have a Rinnegan to see the Limbo clones, which are all just as strong as the real Madara and have the powers of the real Madara, or you have to have 6-pass Sage mode to even sense the location, and on top of that, you have to have 6-pass Chakra just to be able to touch them. Itachi Tsukiyomi does have a couple of counters to it, including one that a non-Uchiha can exploit with high difficulty, which I've discussed in a whole nother video. She needs something that makes her very annoying for Kawaki in a fight, because just having a Sharingan that can see Kawaki when he's strength down and having likely Amaterasu as one of her Mangekyou Sharingan powers, that isn't going to be enough, especially if she ends up taking off the glasses in order to use it, which makes it for an easier telegraph in order to prepare for it. I like the idea and concept, but I honestly don't think the story's going here, or rather I'd prefer that the story doesn't go this route. I get it, this is a shonen, and this is the most shonen thing you could think of, and one of the shonen that I read in my privacy and don't cover on either of my channels just pulled what can be considered a fake out death a few weeks ago, so maybe I'm just jaded, but I kind of feel like it's a cheap way to give Sarada Mangekyou. Either continue the pattern of her Sharingan evolving differently, or if you kill someone off, it's gotta be Sarada really going through the emotional swings. Otherwise, a fake out death, it really cheapens the story and it cheapens any type of power up that you give to Sarada. Though I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. While you think that over, click here to watch my new Spy Family video on KRYPTONIAN SAIYAN, or click here to watch the Boruto Chapter 77 review.